Joining us to talk about this one a bit more is Bruce Wolpe from the US Studies Centre. Bruce, thank you for joining us. Just how extraordinary is it to see a US president wading into something like picking the leader of a new country? Usually they stay right out of those discussions.
That's the general norm, and good afternoon, Annalise. Thank you so much. That is the general norm. That's the way politics should be done. That's not the way this president does politics. He likes to intervene in political contests in the United States, in the Republican Party. He likes to pick winners, and generally they have won. In Israel, he liked to pick Benjamin Netanyahu in a tough election race, and he won. And now he sees Boris Johnson, who was very disparaging towards Trump a few years ago, before he was the nominee. But he likes Boris Johnson, has chosen him, and he's telling Britain what to do. He says, you don't like the EU deal? You should just walk away from the EU deal. They give you a hard time, you should sue. So one thing Trump is not is retiring. And he's injecting himself into British politics, and we'll see how that plays out this week.
One of the extraordinary things we've already seen come out is Mr. Trump comment on Meghan Markle, previously saying she'd rather move to Canada than live under his presidency. He doesn't seem to be being too diplomatic, but we do have some vision here of the reception he's already set to receive in Britain, of this blimp that the famous Donald Trump blimp is going to be going over the city. How do you think he's going to be received in the United Kingdom? I
think it'll be a very tough reception on the streets. The mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has also said he's not going to attend any events. The opposition leader, Jeremy Corbyn, is boycotting the state dinner. And last time he was in London, in the United Kingdom, there were tens and tens of thousands of people in the streets. I assume that will be repeated. So a hostile reception for President Trump among the people of Britain.
And looking to other international news, we've seen the US-China trade war heat up. We've got new tariffs promised by China. How do you think Donald Trump's going to handle that?
The China trade talks are really in poor shape. A month ago, they were close to a deal. China raised objections, but in a way that looked like they were walking away and trying to rewrite the deal. Trump took that very badly. The Chinese also took his reaction very badly. And now it seems that there are no prospects for any quick resolution of the China trade deal. The two leaders obviously will be together in Osaka at the G20 meeting. That'll be an opportunity to try and reset it. That actually what happened a year ago and got negotiations to the point where they were very close. And everyone will be looking at that. But in the meantime, Trump feels he has all the cards to play, that China is in a weak position. Their economy is slowing, if not, it's not contracting, but slowing. And Trump believes he can squeeze them further. And he added Huawei and other high-tech issues to the agenda. So the prognosis for trade talks is poor. And we will see if there's a will, particularly with other leaders in the room with them. Are the leaders of the world going to be with Xi lobbying Trump to exceed a little bit on some issues and get this going, or are the leaders going to be with Trump putting pressure on Xi to concede more? I think I know how that's going to play out. So tough times still ahead on the China-U.S. trade talks.
Absolutely. And domestically, there's still some challenges for Donald Trump. We've seen this Virginia Beach shooting and other tragedy caused by gun violence in the United States. Have we seen Donald Trump respond yet? And what are people expecting of him?
He expressed, of course, his sympathies and condolences. But, you know, there was one tweet in the past 24 hours over a shooting in Virginia Beach that killed 12 people, and there were 6 or more on Mexico and the trade war with Mexico. The shocking thing, of course, is not that it happens, and this will continue to happen again. There will be more Fridays where people are murdered with too many guns in America. There are 300 million guns in America, one for almost every person in the United States, and there are no prospects for gun control. The House of Representatives has passed a bill for more background checks if you want to buy a gun, but it's going nowhere in the Senate. President Trump is wholly aligned with the National Rifle Association. The Republican Party is not budging on the issues. Some states may take some action. Maybe Virginia will take some action after this. But there are going to be more tragic days of murder and carnage in the United States.
And just on that point of the Mexico relations that you touched on there, it's interesting to see him try and use tariffs to control the relationship there. How successful do you think that will be? You
know, this came up at a very awkward and difficult time. There is something called the United States, Canada, Mexico Free Trade Agreement that is to be ratified by the 3 countries. Late last week, Vice President Pence was in Canada meeting with Justin Trudeau to get his support. The Mexican Parliament was meeting, and Trump notified the Congress that it's time to pass it in the United States. And then all of a sudden, late Thursday night, he announces, because of the true crisis on the border and immigrants, people seeking asylum, really pouring across the border into the United States, to tie these two issues together. And he put down a démarche to Mexico. Either you stop people coming into the United States, or we're going to start opening a tariff war against your products. This has upended the free trade agreement. But there are no prospects for Congress to consider that when there's this kind of trade war going on. And it is also, because of the stakes involved, $350 billion, the business community, many Republicans in Congress, including the chairman of the Senate Finance Committee that has jurisdiction over trade, the editorial page of the Wall Street Journal, are urging President Trump to reverse his actions on this and not start another trade war with Mexico on this type of issue.
And just finally, we know Trump has a big international agenda planned. He's in the UK at the moment, but then we'll be heading to celebrate D-Day, or commemorate D-Day, as President of the United States. What do you think people will be expecting out of him? Which foreign leaders is he meeting?
Well, obviously, Macron, France, Normandy, 75 years after D-Day, and other European leaders will be there. Chancellor Merkel was at Harvard last week giving a speech, a very strong speech, in support of the alliance, in support of its institutions, of NATO, of the European Union. And as we just saw, President Trump is really raining hostile fire on the EU. So I think it'll be a tough... Everyone will be gathered to remember historic events that shaped the world. Terribly important. But at the same time, the atmosphere will be cool, if not cold, towards the American president and what he is doing to the international order that was created after World War II.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bruce Wolpe, United States Study Center, for your time.